We're going to check out an incredible looking upcoming MMO called Chrono Odyssey. Make sure to watch to the end.
Chrono Odyssey is an MMO that I have been covering since its original announcement all the way back in December 2020.
Okay.
Nobody else had covered it at the time, and the people that watched my video wrote it off as just another crappy Asian MMO. Boy, has the perception of the game changed since then.
Just that little clip, it looks so cool. I mean, the art style and everything. Those enemies, they look crazy. Ugh. Let's check it out, guys. It could be good.
May 12, 2023, not only has every MMO creator covered the game or expressed some type of interest in it, but the trailer uploaded to the PlayStation YouTube channel is sitting at almost 3 million views since its reveal earlier this month.
That's pretty
Saying
good.
The game is eagerly anticipated would be doing it a bit of a disservice. But what is Chrono Odyssey, and should we be excited? Is it really just another crappy Asian MMO, or is there more to it than we originally expected?
I want to know.
That's what we're here today to discuss.
Tell me.
I'm going to break down everything we know about the game, the business model, the beta test.
Look at that. I mean, this is kind of low res because it's like a recording of a copy of whatever, but dang. It looks incredible. Especially in the original. If you go back and watch the trailer that he's talking about for Chrono Odyssey, it looks incredible. It's like 4K. It's like high resolution textures. It's crazy. If it's an actual recording of gameplay, I mean, this is crazy. It doesn't get much better.
Races and classes, release date. Before we discuss Chrono Odyssey in detail, however, allow me to thank our patrons over on Patreon. You guys
Thanks,
are part of the reason
Patreons.
that I can continue to push out videos like these, and I greatly appreciate you all. Also, if you have a moment, consider following me over on Twitch. I stream there every weekend.
What is it?
Chrono Odyssey is an upcoming third-person, open-world action MMO announced back in December 2020. Developed by NPixel, the same studio behind the popular Grand Saga anime MMORPG. Not to be confused with the blockchain MMO Grand Saga Unlimited by Metapixel. The game is set in the world of Cetera, a land filled with unexplored regions. Equipped with control.
Dude, see, look at this combat. The swings and the hitboxes being so fine-tuned and like, it just looks nice. It looks fun. I'm excited.
Over space and time, players will ally with a variety of different factions as you journey across the land in an attempt to save it from destruction against the Void. A war that has been going on since the beginning of time, that has been rapidly escalating to a point where you and I are necessary to save it.
I like that. I like that analogy or whatever. The fight between good and evil going on since the beginning of time. An epic war, you could say, everlasting. It's kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah. So the world's probably screwed. Examples of factions available are the Guardians, the Void, the Broken, the Outcasts, and the World Movers. Each of these factions have their own backstories, their own purpose.
Discussing the business model.
When Chrono Odyssey was originally conceived, it was done so with free-to-play in mind. However, that was back in 2020, and the game has undergone a number of significant changes since its conception. As a PC-exclusive MMO, I would have said it was all but a guarantee that we'd see it launch free for players, but given their confirmation of a simultaneous console release, that guarantee is no longer, well, a guarantee. Rather, it's still the more likely outcome, and given NPixel's singular other game, Grand Saga, is fully free to play, it makes sense. NPixel.
You know, I think the most ideal situation for a new MMO these days is to launch free to play with a, let's say, a very targeted transaction or like shop, right? And so if only aesthetics are in the shop and you can somehow make enough money to support the MMO off of that, that's the most ideal way to do it, I think. Because as soon as you start introducing like actual gameplay edges to things in the shop, like you can buy your way to being, you know, the best character or whatever, I don't think it's as good. I really don't. If it's pay to win, it's just not as good of a game. Microtransactions are fine. Paying for this or that to make yourself look better, or maybe like having, I don't know, extra warp spots or something, or easier access to player housing, or maybe you have to pay for player housing. Hey, that's great. Just don't be able to pay for an edge in the game, and I think it's better, in my opinion.
still have expressed in the past that they wanted to keep their games accessible for the larger market.
Yeah.
And the investments that they've obtained
that is
to
so cool.
develop these games are proof that the game's sales are unnecessary.
This looks so cool.
This could also be due to the fact that Grand Saga is a gacha MMO and made $1 billion roughly in its first year of release.
Yeah.
Chrono Odyssey might feature a similar style of monetization.
I really hope not. I really hope the monetization is not that bad.
Earlier this month,
What
a full
platforms?
gameplay trailer showcasing everything from world exploration to characters to combat was released, which also confirmed exactly which platforms the game was releasing onto.
So cool.
Originally, NPixel stated that Chrono Odyssey was going to be a PC MMO with mobile crossplay functionality.
Okay.
However, after a lengthy development process, it seems as though they've changed direction, instead opting to release onto PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series.
Sounds good.
Absolutely no mobile cross.
I'm really glad that it's not trying to be mobile, actually. There's so many MMOs doing that, and I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. I know that mobile is really powerful now and can do a lot of things, but I don't know. If you want a really, really good PC MMO, I think it should not be mobile platform like crossover. That's just my opinion. I don't really have a lot to substantiate that. That's just kind of like a feeling like, well, mobile is not as good as PC and consoles in terms of like power and performance. So I feel like it limits it in a way.
Display functionality implemented with no mobile ports, no mobile features.
Good.
This is a breath of fresh air, as we all know the kind of game we'd expect if it were targeting the mobile audience in conjunction with PC.
Right.
Chrono Odyssey features a full action combat system. As we saw in the trailer, the game utilizes dodges, parries, counters, and blocks.
Yeah.
When blocking,
So it's a very fully fledged and like fleshed out combat system. It's not really simplistic. It's not really, I don't know. It could be straightforward and fairly easy to kind of grasp, but at least there's more to it than just, oh, I just hit these 3 abilities and that's it. That's all the combat there is.
You can mitigate damage for a
it's
period
better
of
than
time. After taking a certain amount of damage, your block is broken and you're staggered.
Yeah.
This means that players will be
Makes
presented
sense.
with a number of ways to combat encounters. You can move with a tank and have them hold aggro while you DPS from a safe distance.
Right.
You can go at it solo and utilize dodging and parrying to minimize damage and stay alive. The combat looks incredibly fast and will likely require pretty decent reflexes if you want to be competitive. If there's a functional PvP system in place, I'd imagine it would be much more skill-oriented as opposed to CC-oriented, given the use of real-time combat mechanics.
I think this is good. I think it's good that it's a faster-paced action system, kind of more in line with like BDO or something like that. And people like that. I mean, that's becoming definitely a more popular play style, I think. The Souls-like genre being very popular in recent time. And I think that kind of lines up with this type of fast-paced MMO combat. So yeah, this is a good thing, I think. More depth.
The studio did confirm that there is a functional class system in place, but
okay.
It's deeper than what we're typically used to.
Ooh.
At the time of release, there will be a grand total of 6.
Maybe you can multi-class? Who knows?
6 classes. The Swordsman, the Ranger, the Sorcerer, the Paladin, the Berserker, and the Assassin. Swordsman,
sounds good.
Ranger, Sorcerer, Berserker, and Assassin all sound like full DPS, where the Paladin is likely the human punching bag we saw in the trailer.
Yep,
this
tanker.
Is interesting, though, as unless the Ranger can apply a type of support, the Sorcerer can heal, or the Paladin is entirely self-sufficient, I can't imagine the game being easy without a dedicated healer.
That's a good point. I didn't really hear like a white mage class or something like that. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Maybe there are some support benefits to each class or to a select few that aren't completely obvious just by the class name. But yeah, that's going to be interesting. I wonder how the support class is going to work out, or support role.
Judging from what we know thus far, there isn't really a holy trinity of sorts, but that's the direction the MMO genre is moving. Additionally, each class is going to be able to utilize a number of unique weapons that...
I think that is ultimately good that the MMO genre is moving in that direction, by the way. I think it's good that we're moving away from having like a very well-defined holy trinity, in his words, where you have to have the DPS, the tank, and the healer. I think it is a good thing ultimately that, hey, I like to play DPS sometimes. I want to be able to get in there and do some damage, but I also like to help out my teammates. And so, you kind of have that option. Yeah, I think that's a good thing.
Drastically change the type of class it is, allowing players to swap weapons in real time
to
change not only your utility to the team, but also your role.
Yeah.
Which leads me to believe that there will be a support type weapon for one of the classes that allows the use of reactive real-time healing between DPS, which could honestly be a very, very cool playstyle.
Exploring the world.
The devs confirmed via their website that Chrono Odyssey is a large open-world MMO. They didn't, however, confirm whether the game will be a seamless open-world game.
Yeah, I think that's a good, important distinction he's making. It can be open world, but it's like large open world zones and you still have loading screens. Or it can be like World of Warcraft, where it's really, truly like large open world,
Black Desert Online, or a segregated open world game like Final Fantasy XIV or Guild Wars 2. Regardless, one thing is certain, it is not an instanced MMO, nor is it a hub MMO.
I am glad.
According to a press release made on the PlayStation website, not only will players be able to choose between 6 distinct classes with a variety of different weapons to select from, but you'll also have a number of character customization options.
Ooh.
These include gender and appearance, allowing you to express your unique personality and create a personalized combat style that is truly your own.
I'm really glad to hear that. It's always nice to have good character customization. Any way that you can give the player more control over their character, I think is a good thing in general. I mean, you can get to the point where things get too complex, of course, but with character customization, specifically like how you look and stuff, I think that's just a win. I think it's just a win.
Now, this is still pretty vague, but given this is also a Korean MMO, it's a safe bet to assume not only is it going to be a gorgeous game, but the character customization is going to be enviable. If there's one thing Korean games do well, it's making hyper-sexualized female characters that guys would rather pay more attention to than getting their pickle tickled IRL. At the time of recording, there only seems to be humans available as a playable race, but given this is a fantasy game at its core, there is definite potential for additional races like elves in the future.
Yeah, and we'll just have to wait and see on that, right? I mean, who knows if there's going to be multiple races or not. I think it would be a little bit of a loss if that's true, if there's not multiple races, because this, it definitely looks like a high fantasy world, right? So it seems like there should be more playable races, but, we'll just have to wait and see. What?
Grand Saga and
Mortgaging your home.
Previously released MMORPG is a gacha game, which means more powerful characters, weapons are locked behind essentially a paywall.
Like having to mortgage your home so that you can, or remortgage your home so you can afford the game. I see.
Meaning paying players will have access to more powerful heroes than free players.
Right.
It is unconfirmed if any of the weapons available in Chrono Odyssey will be locked behind gacha, but it is a safe bet to assume if it is in fact a free-to-play title, there will be a degree of pay-to-win present.
Yeah.
Whether it ultimately affects you or not is another...
I hate to hear it, but it's probably true, I can dream, I can hope, but it's probably going to be pay-to-win to at least a minor degree.
Question altogether. However, since I would really only see it having a substantial effect on PvP, which might not exist, or be entirely toggleable.
The dreaded
Chrono
censorship.
Odyssey is a Korean MMO, not a Chinese MMO, which means that it's much less likely for censorship to be an issue. However, at the same time, if NPixel choose to have another publisher publish the game globally outside of Korea, then it is entirely plausible the game could suffer from censorship. I believe Grand Saga hasn't released globally yet and also hasn't suffered any type of censorship yet, but...
We don't like censorship. We want to see it all. Yeah, that's not me saying that. Or maybe I am. Maybe I am. Who knows?
NPixel don't plan on publishing it outside of Korea themselves, as far as...
But yeah, I don't think censorship is ever really good. I don't know. I think if a piece of media or whatever is produced and people want to watch it, they should have the right to do that. Or play it, they should have the right to do that. In whatever form it comes in. I'm not necessarily saying, like, hey, go out and, I don't know, play whatever sensual games are out there. I'm not advocating for it, but I'm saying people should have that choice. So anyway.
As far as I'm aware, which means that they are likely going to look for a global publisher,
Yeah.
of which there aren't really very many options. Probably Amazon, after seeing how much anticipation has been built for this game already.
Yeah, yeah. How massive
A large
is
open
them?
world has been promised with a plethora of multiplayer options. According to the press release posted onto the PlayStation website, the studio's vision for Chrono Odyssey is to continue the legacy of beloved MMORPGs that have stood the test of time, as well as the real-time MMO content enjoyed by hundreds of players to provide a dynamic social experience unlike any other.
I like the sound of that. So are we talking like thousands of players per server? Or maybe one massive server? That would be even better.
Prepare to engage in epic battles alongside hundreds of other players where strategy, skill, and teamwork determines the outcome.
Okay.
Whether you're facing off against colossal beasts or competing for dominance against other factions.
So it says epic battles alongside hundreds of other players. Does that mean there's only hundreds of players on each server? That would be kind of sad if that's the case. Or maybe it just means that there's like world battles where there's hundreds of players. That would be crazy. Who knows? It sounds cool, but it also sounds like kind of suggestively possibly bad, you know, depending on what the actual meaning here is.
You'll need to bring your all and find trusted allies to support you in your quest for victory.
Okay.
Evidently pretty massive.
How does gear progression
work? The devs
work?
have confirmed that there will be massive world bosses to combat out in various zones.
Yep.
But they haven't touched on the kinds of instance content, dungeons or raids, which means we're also uncertain of how one goes about gearing themselves.
Right.
Which, since there is a multi-weapon system present, I wonder if they're going to have gear dropped from world bosses, or if you'll be required to craft them like you will be in Blue Protocol.
I don't know if I really like the crafting system, man. Maybe I'm just too traditional in the MMO sense, where I really just want like items to be dropped, and it's cool if they're like special drops or rare drops too. Like, so you really have to grind for something and try and get it, because then it just feels that much more rewarding when you finally do. I don't know. I don't know if the crafting system is going to be a good way to go in the future for MMOs or not. I mean, it kind of makes sense in one regard, because it's like, oh, it's more realistic. You have to get the recipe, or you have to get the ingredients to make the new thing or whatever. But I don't know. It just doesn't. Something about it just doesn't sit well with me.
Or if they'll just be locked behind real life purchases.
I wouldn't like that either.
Chrono Odyssey
playing from other regions.
Global release plan. Companies like to throw the term global around quite a bit.
Yeah.
Amazon did it with Lost Ark and New World.
Yep.
It IP blocked a number of regions. So while global is confirmed, it's very plausible that it ends up being...
It's like global with asterisks around it and quotation marks and everything. Yeah, I mean, whatever. You know, as long as I can play it in the US, I guess I'm happy. I feel bad for others, I guess, but, you know, whatever.
A little more difficult to access than one might hope for certain regions like Southeast Asia or certain parts of Europe.
Connection to mobile.
As noted earlier, Chrono Odyssey was originally releasing onto PC and mobile, completely cross-platform. However, as of 2023, Chrono Odyssey has discarded any and all mobile functionality in favor of complete console cross-platform play, releasing onto PC, PS5, and Xbox Series.
They tossed out that mobile functionality like old news! Who cares about this crap? We're going to go on PC and consoles. And it's good news to me.
This will make for an ultimately much higher quality MMO, in my opinion.
Testing the beta.
It is unconfirmed when Chrono Odyssey plans on rolling out their first closed beta tests.
I think I signed up for this beta. I think I heard about this game and signed up for the beta like instantly. Let's hope we get in, folks.
But many players are speculating that they will begin at some point in early 2024.
Okay.
Given how far through development Chrono Odyssey currently is, I wouldn't say that that's entirely out of the question.
Yeah. Release
Much
date.
like the global beta, a full global release date is unconfirmed.
You know, if they did the beta in, like, let's say mid-2024, like, I don't know, May, June, July, somewhere in there, and then they had a release date of around the end of 2024, I don't think that would be super unrealistic. So, I don't know, we could be looking at a new MMO by, let's say, holiday season 2024. It'd be pretty good.
Given the beta test is likely going to take place at some point in 2024, it's unlikely we'll see a release date at any point in the first half of 2024. Rather,
maybe
Chrono Odyssey is probably going to be at least a second half 2024 release at the earliest.
Right.
Maybe even a 2025 release, depending on who they decide will be in charge of global localization.
Possibly.
And that's everything we currently know about Chrono Odyssey. This is
nice. I really enjoyed that video. That was a good way to break it up and look at everything piece by piece about the game. Chrono Odyssey looking really good, really promising. There's still some question marks, right? Like, how is the monetization actually going to look? It is a Korean developer, Korean MMO, so maybe, possibly, probably some pay to win. I would really be happy if it wasn't, though. I would really be happy, but, you know, who knows? And yeah, let's be looking for more information on this one. This one's definitely one to look out for. Well, what did you guys think? Does Chrono Odyssey look hype? Let me know in the comments. Leave a like, a subscribe, and I will see you next time.